Good morning, and welcome to another episode of The Unprofessional Entrepreneur. I really need to make a quick intro like that because I love the short intros that are like, this is The Unprofessional Entrepreneur. But audio editing, not my thing. New task for the Frenchman. Anyways, I, in typical narrow spicy fashion, am working through the CPIA framework, content platforms, intention, and angles, and I am not going in order. So if you listened to last week's episode, I got into the content aspect of my CPIA framework, which was step 1, which makes sense. But today I want to talk to you about angles, which is step 4, the last one. And honestly, I want to talk about angles because it is the one that every single time I do a presentation, I guess whether it's a summit or a guest coaching or a workshop or whatever, everybody says that angles is the part that hits the hardest for them. It's the thing that makes the most difference for them. It's the thing that makes repurposing click in their brains. So they stop having the but I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. People are going to get bored. If you add angles, no one will get bored. No one will even know that it's the same content. You can't tell if you know how to use intentions and you know how to use angles. Should I talk about intentions first? Potentially, but we're not going to. If you want to learn more about the CPIA framework, if you want to go through it in order or at your own pace, then you can head to the link in my show notes and sign up for the free private podcast. It is a video podcast hosted on YouTube. And I give you a walkthrough of the CPIA framework. I think to watch all 6 videos, including the bonus video where we talk about content repurposing workflows, takes 15 minutes. The videos are super short and snappy. These podcast episodes are actually longer. But yeah, if you want to go through the whole CPIA framework, if you're someone who wants to either train your team on content repurposing or DIY your content repurposing, I definitely recommend signing up for the private podcast, Turn 1 into 10. But today we're going to talk about angles. Today I'm going to share with you the biggest thing that changes repurposing strategies. I did a thread the other day that got a lot of love, and it was the first line with the arrow pointing down and the threads icon emoji. We don't say icon anymore, do we? It was just the best repurposing tip I've ever shared. So let me get into the best repurposing tip I've ever created and shared with the masses. And every single time I share this, people love it. And that is angles. So if I was to explain angles to people outside of content or even inside of content, because we've never talked about this before, I would describe it as using a lens. I actually did a graphic for a presentation. Wow, I'm so all over the place with side stories today. This is perfect narrow spicy example. But I did a graphic for a presentation the other day where it was your original piece of content. You can't see me if you're not watching the video, but imagine first on the far left, original piece of content, and then one of those light prisms. And the original piece of content was the light heading into the prism. And then the rainbow coming out the other side of the prism is the repurposed content. The prism itself is the angles. So by putting a different lens in front of the original content, you're changing the repurposed content into a rainbow, into new pieces of content, right? And so there are 8 angles that exist in my world. Obviously, you could adapt this to your content strategy, to your style of writing, to your audience, whatever type of content pops off the most for you. And then, of course, you're taking intentions into account. I'll do a different episode on this. I think I've already done an episode on this, but intentions is step 3 in the CPIA framework. Please go watch the private podcast if you're not familiar with that framework. But if you're aware of your intentions for each platform, it'll kind of help you decide which angles apply best to that platform. If you're using a selling platform, you're going to hit the angle of testimonials. You're going to hit the angle of objections and limiting beliefs way more Then if you're a lead generation platform, you're going to hit the angles of hot takes and polarizing opinions and myths, things that bring people in. Where nurture, of course, you're going for inspirational, you're going for mistakes. The angles change based on the intentions. You can use all angles no matter the intention, but intentions will speak more towards certain angles, if that makes sense, without like providing visuals of what I mean. I actually had a whole thing mapped out about like intentions and the angles that fit them best, but it just got way too complicated to explain via podcast. It needs to be a graphic, and like your girl's done with graphics. Sorry, everybody who would like that. Maybe one day I'll get back into posting on Instagram, but for now I'm quite happy with my 9 grid. Anyways, so the 8 angles that we put our content through to take the original content to the rainbow content, also known as the repurposed content, are limiting beliefs, hot takes, polarizing opinions, testimonials or case studies, whatever you like to call them, inspirational content, myths, mistakes, and objections. And sometimes myths and mistakes can be mistaken for each other, pun intended. Same with objections and limiting beliefs. But I do notice clear differences when I myself am writing them. Limiting belief is more something that people believe about themselves, where objections is more about the offer. Mistakes is something people are doing wrong, versus a myth is something that people literally believe that is wrong. So you can see how they can get blurry, but when done properly, you can hit these very, very well when you're repurposing your content. Obviously, I can only go so deep with examples as I don't know your industry as well as you. But like a mistake for social media managers is the posting just to post. It could also be a limiting belief, but that is, I need to post every day. See how it changed a little bit? And it's going to hit a different angle when you talk about it in your content, when you break it down and speak to your people, depending who your people are. A mistake when you're a tech entrepreneur could be trying to do everything manually because you want everything to be customized and personalized, where a myth is that everything needs to be automated. Not every part of your onboarding, not every part of your client customer journey needs to be automated. You can have manual, personalized parts to your process, but automations are a game changer, and I really don't recommend that you do everything manually, right? So you can see like the difference there: myths, mistakes, limiting beliefs, objections, whatever. There's different angles within those, and the more you know your audience, the more you know your offer, and the more you know yourself, the better your content can be. The better I can make it when you fill out your onboarding form as well. But so how does the regular person use angles? I kind of just gave you some examples, but what you're going to do if you follow the rest of the CPIA framework, you already have your content picked out, you know what platform you're creating your content for, and you know the intentions you want your people to take from that platform. So now you're going to look at your original piece of content, and whether that is, let me find something. The first post that came up was Stephanie and Maria on my threads, and it is 3 signs to fire your coach immediately, right? So you could have your original piece of content, 3 signs to fire your coach immediately. And then you're going to decide you want to make a blog post, you want to post on Instagram, carousels, and reels, and maybe an email or 2. And the intentions for your blog post is to educate. The intention for your Instagram is to generate leads, and the intention for your emails are to sell. So the 3 signs to fire your coach immediately: stop outsourcing your internal decisions to reductionist meme. This is kind of a satirical. You know what word I'm trying to say, and I'm pretty sure none of those were right. This post is not an actual three points post, but if it was, we're going to take it as if it was. So if you were going to make it into a blog post, you're going to expand. You're going to do a full intro, point 1, point 2, point 3. You can have a call to action to a lead magnet or to another blog post that talks about a similar thing, or, to follow you on social media, whatever you like. Good angles to hit with your blog post could be inspirational, could be hot take value adds, could also include testimonial in there to warm people up to you and your audience. Then when you're going into your carousels, you could be doing, because you're looking for lead generation, you could be doing inspirational, how I fired my coach, how I knew I needed to fire my coach. You could be doing a hot take or a value add where it's honestly the same three signs you're ready to fire your coach, or you could expand on one of the signs specifically, going like, this is a red flag in your coach. If you're seeing this red flag in your coach, it's time to let them go. And then we go onto your email list where you're looking. And so if you're looking to sell, you have an offer about personal development, coming home to yourself, knowing yourself. This is what I'm seeing on Stephania's Instagram as I look at it right now. We are connected. I have talked with her, but I'm not super familiar with her offer suite. So that's why I'm kind of like spitballing and researching at the same time as this episode. But yeah, so if you are looking to sell through your emails and your post is 3 signs to fire your coach immediately, you want to guide people towards why they should be firing their coach, how you know the lies they're telling them, whether they're telling themselves they're happy with their coach, or it's not that bad, or it's not actually red flag, right? Like the lies we tell ourselves, these could also be for dating. And how her offer is going to help you either break up with your coach or get to know yourself better so that you hire the right coach next time, whatever her offer focuses on, whoever her ideal clients are, right? So that was, oh, fuck. So those emails will be hitting the angles of objections, the lies we're telling ourselves, mistakes, the things we're doing wrong. Testimonials can be really good for selling. So if you have a story of someone who worked with you and realized they needed to break up with their coach, then that would be a great email to write and share the story from the point of like, this is where they were, knowing this is where a lot of your audience is. This is the thing that made them realize that turning point moment, and this is the work we did together to get them to successful point B where they are now. So those are some good examples, I might say myself, of using angles to turn that original piece of content, 3 signs to fire your coach, into, I don't even know how many pieces of content I just gave you with different angles each time. I'm like, if this isn't clicking for you, I don't know what else I can do other than tell you to go watch the private podcast, because I give you even more angles and more examples, but there's also imagery. So you can see like exactly what I'm talking about with my hands here, even though you're probably watching this not on the video version. But yeah, I hope that you all listen to this and walk away with the knowledge that angles are what you're missing when it comes to your repurposing strategy. They are the game changer in the whole content repurposing world for me. Of course, if you don't want to do the work, that's what my team's here for. If you can't be fucked to do the work, that's what my team does. We can help you come up with the content ideas so you get to create, or we can do the entire creation process ourselves. You just give us the OG content and we rip it apart, dig through it, find those hidden gems that are going to help you create the best content possible for the platforms you want to be showing up on. You can head to our website. I will link that, of course, in the show notes. We either do done for you through Repurposing Unlimited, which is 10 hours of repurposed content a month. You get to ask for whatever content you want, and we create as much as possible. or you can send me a message of what you're looking for, what you want. I will send you a custom quote of what we can do your desires for. But that's all. I'm going to love you and leave you there. I think I rambled a hell of a lot in this episode, but I hope you took some value out of it. So I will catch you all next week on another episode of The Unprofessional Entrepreneur. If you're feeling extra spicy, I would love, love, love to see you rate, review, subscribe, whatever that platform you're listening on asks of you. And I will see you. Wait, I've already said that. And don't forget to stay spicy. No, stay unprofessional, my friends.